Scout, evaluate what we're doing well, what we're not doing well, recruiting. A lot going on in bye week, right? Obviously, coach does a great job of steering us and guide us in that. With his history of being a head coach, he has a plan on how he's going to handle those always, and was pretty regimented in how we go about doing that. Got our players fresh, got some young players developed, and some good practices in with them. So all in all, it's a really good period for us.
What stood out when you rewatched that Penn State film?
Yeah, we just didn't play well enough to win. That's being Captain Obvious there, but just I didn't call the game well enough, and we didn't execute in moments that were critical to the outcome of the game. And our guys fought and competed hard against a really good football team, and we want to learn from that experience and use that to propel us forward. Certainly, we took that approach in the film corrections and the game plan corrections and things that we could do better and need to do better, starting with me on down through the coaching staff to our players, and then using that as information to help us become a better football team, especially off the bye date. And so obviously using that as fuel to make us a better team offensively and going into this game this week with a great challenge.
You mentioned the self-scout. Does that color it a little bit? I mean, that's maybe the most recent game, or were you able to get maybe a bigger picture?
Yeah, it's a broad picture. We're kind of where we are through 5 games. What's been a positive for sometimes when you think what a positive is for you and what you're good at maybe doesn't add up to what the film says sometimes. Sometimes you get a feel of this and that and the other, and so you just get to dig into the actual. I got a couple of good days with the staff to sit down and watch a lot of film, a lot of cut-ups, and a lot of study on what's going well and what we need to fix and address. And there was a bunch of things that we need to get fixed, and I feel like we made some strides in that. And there's a bunch of things we're doing well that we need to continue to build on.
Was the pass pro one of those things that you looked at that need to improve at and get a little bit better?
Anytime. Well, obviously, when we get in third and long, you get in third and long in any situation, and really in a tough environment against a really athletic defense, you're putting your guys at a disadvantage. And I think through the first 5 games and in our early down preparation, a lot of third downs we've protected pretty well in the large scheme of things. Obviously, the night, at the end of the game in particular, when we had our average yardage against Penn State, I think was 3rd and 10 in the game, and that's just a really tough way to make a living for any football team in any level, much less considering the environment and the skill of the opponent that we were playing. That's a recipe for having some struggles and having pressures, and we got to do a better job on early downs to mitigate the yardage that we have to go on third down. But I think early down pass protection, the things we've done early, we've done some really good things. Obviously, we got to continue to get better and scheme and better protection on obvious passing situations.
Coach, when you're going against a guy and the staff
Mm-hmm.
what do you do, within the mind, how do you deal with that? And who has the advantage, or is there no advantage?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, obviously we got a lot of people on our staff have a lot of strong relationships with guys on their staff and a lot of respect and some friendships there. And obviously it takes a whole new meaning, or that all takes a back seat to what's going on, in the game, and that's the priority there. And so this time last year was probably a little bit more unique than it is this time around. Just to be honest with you, I mean, that doesn't mean it's not a little bit different when it's people that and worked with across the ball. But got a lot great respect for all those guys on the staff, and they're good people, and they coach the right way. And but this week's about our football team getting prepared to play a home game, off an open date, and a conference game, a rival game, a trophy game, and a game that's extremely important for us in our football season.
How similar is what they do defensively to what you went up against in practice and a couple
Yeah,
years ago?
obviously it's the same tree, and just like every week, different spins show up on of the defense, and so the foundation of the defense is obviously something that we're familiar with because we've gone against it, in-house here since I've been here for the 3 years I've been here, and so that doesn't mean it's just it is what it is. Like we know it, we see it, but yet there's some nuances and complexities that we haven't worked against. They're going to have things that we haven't seen that we got to adapt to. That's the name of the game, is adapting to what you're seeing. As a starting point, we know structurally kind of what we're going to see. But then it's about us executing in those moments, no different than it would be against any other defense that we'd be playing against.
How do the run game, how do you feel like you guys can, I guess, what do you think of that through the first 5 games? We'll start with that.
Up and down, just like kind of we were offensively, just up and down. We had some good moments, some some moments that weren't very good, and obviously we got to run the ball. We've talked about that all the time. We got to run the ball better. It's my job to lead that charge and to give our players the best chance that they can to execute, because I know we've got we've got enough talent and in the running back room. I feel really good about what they all bring to the table, and our offensive line is a talented group that cares so much and works well. We're just gonna run the ball better, and that's the thing that stuck out to me is watching it. There's moments where like there it is, and there's moments where like, well, we're up and down in that regard, and it starts with me. And I've got to give our guys the best plan that they can possibly have moving forward in every game, in every situation, every play, because every play is a big deal, and we all know that. But just looking back at that, there's a play here or a play there that, and when you deal with those aren't. That's a subjective opinion. What I'm meaning by that, but like it's. We just got to be tightened up a little bit more, and the effort's there, the talent's there, and I got to lead that charge for us.
Caden said he was overthinking things, trying to do too much first couple weeks. What have you seen from him the last couple weeks? Because it seems like he's gotten going.
Yeah, I think he has gotten going, and obviously in the Nebraska game, I thought he ran really well, and he had some really good runs against Penn State the other day, and that he was creating on his own and created good opportunities. But obviously, some of the a run or two he had early in the game propelled us to that scoring drive that we had. And obviously got us in another position to potentially have another one as well. So, I feel good about where he's at. I think our running back room overall is healthy and kind of hitting their stride a little bit. And we've got to run the football, and that's our DNA. That's who we are. And when you don't run the ball and you're not effective running the ball like we weren't last week, 2 weeks ago when we played at Penn State, it makes things hard. And but we've got to be more effective at that. And I'm confident that we're working hard towards getting that. And that'll be a great challenge against a defense that knows us well, that we know well, that's structured to stop the run, and it creates its own set of challenges this week as well.
Yes, we've seen some rotation on the line throughout various points. Is that something you think you'll continue, or do you want to use the bye week to maybe solidify what you had?
Yeah, I think just since I've been here, I know that Bart's felt comfortable playing, seven or eight guys in a game, and so I think I would anticipate some, more of that of guys guys needing a rest and needing a break. And, when you play 70 plays, having 10 plays off sometimes is a good thing for you to sit and look and evaluate how it's going and what you could do better and let another guy have a series. We feel like we've got enough depth that we've got guys that can help us win in different spots. So that's a non-committal answer to your question, but that's just kind of how we've always done things. A coach has always done it that way since I've been with him. He's always had a 6th or 7th lineman in there in a role to help. Guys that might need a breather, so to speak, but ultimately, we always want to put the best unit out there that we can to help us move the ball consistently, and the guys that have been out there have earned the right to be out there at this point.
I guess along those lines, Brett mentioned after Penn State maybe exploring that barge or mini barge package a little bit more. What do you like about the wrinkle that could give you guys?
Well, anytime you can put big guys on the field, that's a positive thing, for gaps and for moving guys. And I think our tight ends have played pretty well in the run game, so that's no slight towards them or of us saying these guys can't get it done. It's just more like, okay, what skill sets do our players on offense have that can help us win, and then to apply those and accentuate those to help us be good on offense. That's always something that we're looking to explore.
I know it's been a while, but we haven't had a chance to ask you yet. That drive before half, what was your vantage point of what would you see that need to correct to finish that drive?
Yeah, there was obviously a bunch of things, starting with play calling. I don't want to sound like a broken record. Obviously, you always look back, and when you get down there and you don't score, execution. It's like tough environment, but obviously the second and third down plays. The third down play we had a good call, we slipped. And we got called for ground. It is what it is, right? You can't slip. And second down was, we had a play call that we feel good about in hindsight that we didn't execute perfectly well against a talented group that defeated some blocks, and so obviously the moral of the story is anytime we get down there, no matter what the opponent is, home, away, early season, late season, third quarter, fourth quarter, first quarter, when you get down there, you got to have points, and obviously not having points there was a tough deal for us, but I'm confident we'll learn from that and grow from that, and we got to have touchdowns when we get down there that low.
Coach, what do you want to see from Luke from a decision-making standpoint, particularly when he's under pressure? His numbers are really good when he's got a clean pocket, not quite as good when he's under a little bit of duress.
Sure. Yeah, I would say that's I don't know.
Which is typical,
Yeah,
obviously.
I would say it's somewhat typical, football, but I'm sure there's certain guys that are, their numbers are good under pressure and duress. And so, again, that would go back to the kind of the previous statement. Is number one, we got to make sure we're not in third and super long, right? So that's one. That would be more advantageous for us, is if it's not 3rd and 11 or 3rd and 12, right? And then, secondly, I think the big thing is when you do move is to keep your eyes downfield and be a passer first before you're a runner. And that's something that all quarterbacks are always working on, but that's something that can present itself. And then taking care of the ball obviously is a big thing. But it's okay to punt sometimes, I mean, it's okay. We don't want to punt, but sometimes, we want to end every drive with a kick. And he's done a good job of that to this point. Obviously, had his first interception last week in a moment that the ball needed to come out. And to be honest with you, Penn State made a really nice adjustment to a play that we had run earlier. And I could certainly see, not to make a soft bed for him, how that ball got put in jeopardy because the play the young man made from Penn State. It's my job to put him in a better position, but at the end of the day, I think he's done a good job of taking care of the football, and we got to use his legs and his arm on 3rd down to create positive plays to keep the chains moving. Part of that is keeping your eyes down the field as you step up in the pocket, which is something he's done, and it's made some plays, did it against Kansas, and did it again the other day in some moments, but that's an area that I'd like to see him continue to improve upon.
What's been that evolution for that? What's been his evolution in keeping his eyes downfield versus maybe turning into a runner sooner maybe than you would like?
Well, I mean, I think just being comfortable, and obviously we do a fair amount of quick game stuff. The ball comes out pretty quickly. Then when we get on the intermediate and the deeper stuff, I think in early downs we've done a pretty good job of protecting him, giving the opportunity to do that. But it's everybody, right? It's the route detail, it's the protection, it's the call, it's all that stuff, that ultimately everybody sees for the naked eye, sees him with the ball in his hand. But there's so much that goes into it beyond that. It is the call, it is the protection, it is the ID, it is the back's chip, it is the route detail, all those things. So when we're tied up in those things, and Luke sees it, that's when we click and that's when we roll. And that's no different than any other offense. We just got to continue to tighten up our details to give him confidence to get the ball out on time, because he's playing at a nice level for us. He's got to continue to do that.
With Purdue obviously struggling, and they've been public that they're not happy with how they're playing, is there an element of expect the unexpected as you prepare your guys with what you might see scheme-wise or whatever?
Well, I would just say twofold. Number one, just like any other week, our focus is always about our play and our development, right? And how we can play our brand of football, how we can play a clean game, how we can play a detailed game, how we can play a physical game, right? Regardless of who's coming to town. Then the other piece of that is obviously it's a rivalry game, and when rivalry games happen, all bets are off. I mean, it's like an intense battle, and we know that's what's going to be like on Saturday. Obviously, and our focus will always continue to be on in-house of what we can do better, how we can play, how we can prepare our team, put our players in a good position, because we know that Saturday it'll be a classic Big Ten rivalry trophy game that's going to be intense, and fully expect it to be another one of those intense ones just like last year. Obviously, we got overwhelmed last year. Not overwhelmed, but we let the game get away on our side of the ball. Didn't execute very well. It's a rematch opportunity for us, off of a game that we didn't play well in last year. So there's a lot to look forward to in this game, and it'll be a great challenge because, like all rivalry games are, they're always great challenges.
Coach Beal talked last week about just during the bye week, opportunity for 2s, 3s, look team to get more reps. Anybody on your side of the ball that took advantage of getting?
Yeah, Donovan got some good work. That was important for us to see. There's some linemen that got some good work too, but for me, particular, to be able to get Donovan. Trey Petty got a lot of reps too during the open day, but Donovan, during the week of preparation, we spend a lot of the time getting the reps to to Luke, and Donovan gets gets a certain amount of them, but Donovan got a good bulk of work. I thought he had a good few days of practice and prep. I was really pleased with his progress and his readiness.
How do you balance the under center and in the gunner and the pistol type of stuff with your offenses as you self-scouted this bye week? And
Yeah.
do you think it has affected the run game at all, or do you think that that's just how you guys want to do things?
You're just talking about having all three aspects of that?
Yeah, or do we do too much, and has it affected the run game a little bit as going out of the gun affected the run game?
Sure.
Do you feel like that's part of the equation?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, so that's something we're always evaluating. I think there's, you know, there's certain runs and certain players that feel more comfortable in the home position, whether that be underneath the center or in the pistol, and there's certain players that feel better in the gun, and there's certain run schemes that are better in the gun than they are in the. So it's all that, you know, like there's some complexities involved in that, and that's something, to your point, that we looked at really closely during the open day. Always something we're always examining is making sure we have a fair amount in each kind of organization to play to the strengths of the scheme and the player. You know, obviously the gun has a certain element that it brings to the table as far as the quarterback run, you know. Being underneath the center has a certain element of getting downhill, so all that we're weighing and constantly evaluating, because we think all three of those elements bring positive things to us in the run game and the pass game.
What's unique about opening drives? I mean, do you look at those and say, hey, we need to do that in subsequent drives the rest of the game? Or?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously, you know, our players have started the game very well. We've talked about this before. That's always something that you're trying to, reflect on, to say, all right, we jump started, here quickly, really 2 weeks in a row. I don't even know honestly the stats of this. I think, let's see, if I look back on it, I guess Kansas, we drove down the field. Eastern, we punted. Central, I don't remember what happened against Central. Did we score?
4 or 5.
Yeah, 4 of the 5 we scored either a touchdown or field goal on the openers, right? Now, Central, if I remember correct, was like a 15-play drive, so, we got a little bit beyond our opening script, in that regard, because I think we had some 4th downs. And so, yeah, you're always looking to say, all right, well, I think one of the things that sticks out is that when our guys are in a rhythm, we execute pretty well. And one of the best things you can do to get in a rhythm is get early first downs, and that's what we've been able to do in those drives, and so that's one of the things that we reflect on, to say, how can I be a more rhythmic play caller? Obviously, scripting. I would say probably in the openers of those drives, I mean, we probably stay on script probably 75% of the time. There's probably there's probably 25% of, me getting off script based on the situation in those openers. So it's not like so rigid where everything's just completely called ahead of time. But there's a few plays, obviously, that I know I'm going to call, that we go to, that our guys know, that we practiced, that jump into it. We've got to do a better job of creating that rhythm in other drives, obviously, in other situations where our guys feel that, they're confident in what's going on. That's something we're always looking at. It's a great point, great question to figure out, how we can play with that same rhythm beyond the opening drive. And I'm confident that our players can do that when we put them in good situations, and we've got a confident bunch, but we got to go out and execute better. I got to call the game better to get that momentum going.
No reps.
Finish with this one.
And I know reps are limited a little bit for these guys, but Donovan, Trey, what kind of progress have you seen from them this
Yeah, I think you've seen the growth that, Donovan's very comfortable. Obviously, been in the program for a little while now. He knows the offense pretty well. He knows me, and so I thought he can just handle the things. He can just handle the offense. And Trey's getting more comfortable in that regard, to be able to just handle the calls, the signals, the communication device, like you can see the advantage he got from coming in the spring, and you can see Donovan's advantage of being here for an extended period of time, where they're just comfortable in knowing the calls. And so both of them are talented players that we feel good about, and I feel good about where Kirk's at as well, as a guy that's going in the game as a 3. I think he's a guy that knows the offense and can play well too. But those two guys both made some nice plays in the open day to see their growth, but obviously I saw a lot of that from a lot of offensive players, so I thought the young guys really responded the right way in the open day.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.